lecture, we are going to study Introduction to the C++. Along with that, we are going to see what are the different features of the object-oriented programming language C++, why there is a need of using the object-oriented programming language, that is C++, what are the different compilers, and which are the applications. Let us begin with the introduction to the C++. In this, we are going to see who invented the C++ language and what was the earlier name of the C++ language. C++ is an object-oriented programming language. It was being developed by Barges Tostrup at AT&T Bell Laboratories in Murray Hill, New Jersey, USA in the early 1980s. C++ is an extension of the C with a major addition of the classes. The idea of the C++, it came from the C increment operator, that is plus plus. Thereby, it suggested that C++ is an augmented version of the C. It is also called as the superset of the C. Tostrup initially called the new language C with the classes. However, in 1983, the name was changed to C++. What is the need of the object-oriented programming? As there were many flaws in the procedure-oriented programming, so the new approach was developed, that is object-oriented programming. Lots of attempts were made to overcome the flaws of the procedure programming. The major things that was missing in the procedure-oriented programming, that it emphasis on the procedure and the functions, while in case of the object-oriented programming, the major focus was not on the functions, but it was on the data. The object-oriented programming, it treats the data as the critical element and not the functions. This is the another important aspect, that it does not allow the data to flow freely around the system. As in the procedure-oriented programming, the data was being kept global. So any function can access the data, which may cause unintentional changes which allow the bugs to creep. To avoid the restrictions were kept in the object-oriented programming on the data. In object-oriented programming, the data is closely attached to the functions which operate on it. So both of them are considered as one unit. In major cases, they are considered. It allows to compose a problem into the number of the entities, which are called as objects, and then builds the data and the functions around these objects that we create. It is necessary to understand the features of the object-oriented programming in the C++. What are classes? Classes are the blueprint for the functional entity which will be defining its properties and the functions. Then what is the object? Objects are the basic runtime entities in an object-oriented systems which has the state and the behavior. It is an instance of the class. All the members of the class are being accessed through the objects. Abstraction. It refers to the items of representing only the essential features without including the background details. So let us understand this with the help of the example. Whenever we are using any of the application, at that time we are only see its front end. That is, we are only using that application. We are performing it what actually it is being used for. But we are not knowing what is there at the back end, what actually it is being performing, which language is being used. So that information is being hidden from us. Encapsulation. The wrapping up of the data and the functions into a single unit. Data encapsulation, it is one of the striking features of the class. Inheritance. In this, objects of the one class, it is acquiring the properties of the objects of the another class. This provides the code reusability. Polymorphism. The ability to take more than one form when one task is performed by the different ways. Let us consider the example. If we want to perform the addition of the two numbers, at that time we require the plus operator. Then what result we get? We get the result as the sum. But if we use the same operator, that is the plus, in the string, then it will produce a result as concatenation of the two strings. The next feature is dynamic binding. It means that the code associated with a given procedure call is not known until the time of the call at the runtime. Message passing. Object-oriented programming, it consists of the sets of the objects that can communicate with each other. Object-oriented programming, it uses the bottom-up approach. Which are the compilers that C++ uses? So here is the list, that is Microsoft Visual C++, Eclipse, CodeBlocks, Dev C++, NetBeans, IDE, CyGwin, GCC. There are some now online compilers that are too available to compile the program. Let us see the applications where the C++ language is being used. It is being used in the games to develop the GUI-based applications, in the database software, and in the operating systems. There are many more applications.